To open our meeting tonight, we'll have our invocation led by Commissioner Cheryl Wilson, and then we'll have the presentation of colors and the pledge to the flag led by Cub Scout Pack 134, Bill Jorgensen, is the Cub Master. So I would certainly ask you at this point to stand for the invocation for the pledge to the flag.
Bow your heads, please. May the Lord watch over us tonight and grant us the wisdom to make the decisions that are pleasing in thy sight. Be with our troops overseas and their families. Be with this community of Williamson County and God bless us and lead us and guide us. We ask all this in Christ's name. Amen.
Attention. Scouts, salute. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, cross colors. Color guard, hoist the flag of the great state of Tennessee. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, hoist the flag of the United States of America. Color guard, honor your colors. Color guard, return to ranks.
Let's give those young men. You can see what the interest of those parents are.
Oh, wow!
We'd say thank you and they all leave. Certainly remarkable to see those young people participating in that very patriotic act. We certainly thank them for being here tonight. Roll call vote. If you're present, press your yes button or your present button, your white button, I guess it is. So if you would press your white button for the roll call.
Not working.
Not working? Commissioner Walton is missing tonight, and spoke with him, and he's had a medical procedure done and will not be able to be here with us tonight. Let me also ask your help as we start into the meeting, and please make this request of you. If you have a pager on your person, please turn it off. If you have a cell phone, please turn it off, because if it does go off during a meeting, you will be asked to leave the room. So certainly help us with that to control. This is the legislative body of Williamson County, and we encourage your support in making sure that our meeting is conducted with the appropriate level of respect and cooperation. Approval of the minutes of the regular February 12, 2007 County Commission meeting. Each of you received copies, and these were mailed to you. I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Little, Tommy Little, second by Commissioner Wilson. We approve the minutes. Further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Show it unanimous. Introduction and acceptance of the Highway Commission minutes. These were sent to you through the mail. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Langston, second by Commissioner Mills to accept the Highway Commission minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Citizens communication. This is a section of the agenda that we have set aside to allow individuals to speak to the body. We have 4 individuals signed up, and I'll allocate the time between these 4 to speak. So the first that's on the listed is Pam Rose. I would ask each of you, as you come to the microphone for the record and also for the public, to state your name and your address so that they can be entered into the record, and then we'll allow you to address the commission at this time.
I'm Pam Rose. I live at 6418 Temple Road. And I have come once again to appeal to you, the larger body, the County Commission, the body where the buck stops, for help in resolving a very old issue, the repair of Temple Road, the old section. My appeal to you tonight is one-dimensional. Bring our 2 sides together to a table for the purpose of putting this matter behind us. The part of Temple Road in question is 7/10 of a mile long. 7/10 of a mile. That's 1/10 of a mile for every year that we have been dealing with this conflict. In January's Highway Commission meeting, Mayor Anderson implored the Commission to find a new way to deal with these roads. There has also been mention in the press of a template that might be useful as a guideline. We have tried to work within the system, but committees have been terminated without reason. Dialogue has been impossible. A court ruling found against that system, and the spirit of the ruling was profoundly in favor of property owner interaction. Williamson County sued us under eminent domain, one of the most controversial laws in the United States. Hopefully, none of you here tonight will have to experience that hardship. But if you do, I feel certain that you would want to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that every intelligent alternative had been considered, and that the seizing of your land was undeniably necessary. This evening, Stan Tyson will begin another term as Highway Commissioner. I happen to think that Stan is a wise man and a gifted poet. I personally admire and respect his lifetime of service to our country. That does not mean that we share the same views, but we are willing to accept the challenge of having our concerns heard and respected. Perhaps Mr. Tyson is willing to participate or even initiate these discussions. We are open to all possibilities. The AASHTO publication, Flexibility in Highway Design, outlines how this can be done successfully, but the primary consideration is a spirit of cooperation. In the process of starting over, perhaps we can do this, but in order to have a different result than we've had the last 7 years, we can't fool ourselves by thinking that condemnation and cooperation are synonyms. We're asking for your help to keep us out of court and broker a new way of solving our problems so that we do not see the same thing again or do the same thing and expect a different result. I leave you tonight with some questions for your consideration. How much time is too much time to spend on this matter? How much money is too much money to spend on this? How much press is too much press? And how much embarrassment is too much embarrassment for our county? What is the worst thing that could happen by getting us all at a table at which we have never been that entire 7 years to resolve and put this problem behind us? Is that not worth a try? And if so, when might be a good time to do that? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next on the agenda is Steve Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Kelly, 207 Green Road in Franklin. Green Road is the only road that intersects Temple Road between the Country Club of Temple Hills and Old Natchez Trace. I'm not a resident of Temple Road, so I can't speak as one, but I am the president of the Old Natchez Trace Community Association and extend to you their greetings as well as their hope. When we first became involved in the Temple Rose issue, we were concerned about the options that we knew were available but were not being considered. Beyond that, we were even more concerned that with everyone aware that there were alternatives, that they weren't being considered, and furthermore, there was no dialogue between the parties in the spirit of AASHTO. And I want to clarify what AASHTO is for you. AASHTO is a set of guidelines. I cannot tell you whether they are federally mandated or not, but they operate under a federal oversight, if you will, that were used by the county's appointed engineering firm to limit the scope of the Temple Road construction. And we were concerned about that decision and spoke to AASHTO and looked at their manuals and found, in fact, that AASHTO not only opens up the opportunity but encourages the opportunity for governance to meet with and consider every minimal change to a road structure in a proactive way. So on one hand, we're hearing from the county's own appointee, the engineering firm, Collier, that only so much can be done, citing a guideline, when in fact the guideline says just the opposite. We asked at that time to come to a table, and that opportunity was politely denied. We then went to court, having been sued. I say, was again the Temple Road residents. And the court found against the county. The county went before the court again, and the court found again against the county. And as I speak here now, I understand, and I guess from the reading of a document that's passed, I believe, through the Highway Commission, groundwork is being set, again without stakeholder involvement, the stakeholders being the residents, the property owners, to pursue the same kind of action that we have already gone through, that the county is already lost at. We now are asking, again, and I believe for the third time, that we come to a table. Now, I don't know if you have a will to do that because of the way the Highway Commission operates, somewhat autonomous, as I understand it from this body, if you even have the ability to do that. But I repeat on behalf of the Community Association that we come to a table and a big pot of hot coffee and look at exactly what AASHTO says, if the county wants to abide by that standard, conclude that it is worded first in favor of a minimalist approach, not an aggressive approach, a bona fide approach, not one that's arbitrary or capricious, as the court found the county was following, and maybe, just maybe, for the first time with this event, after a good pot of hot coffee, resolve this, which in fact I personally believe we can do. My training, apart from my corporate career in another state, was as a certified state mediator. After my primary career ended, that's all I did. It's a great process. Oddly enough, there's been no willingness to enter a great process. It's all based on, according to the court, arbitrary and capricious decision-making. Well, if I was sitting in your chair, I'd wonder why.
Sir, 30 seconds.
Thank you. And if I were to wonder why, I would look for a solution. You got a bunch of property owners and some interested parties and an association with some great people involved that want to sit down and talk. And that is all we're asking for. We've asked 3 times. We've been denied 3 times. In court, we've won twice. We don't want to do that again. I believe you wouldn't either, certainly if you were in our shoes. Again, we compel you, if we will, to approach the Highway Commission and ask for us, or enable us, to sit down and talk and resolve. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Turner.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Laura Turner. I live at 1108 Dickinson Lane in Montpelier Farms, Williamson County. I'm here to urge your support of any measures, particularly the ones that I understand y'all are favorable, or some of y'all, for, to help growth pay for itself. Growth doesn't pay for itself. Taxpayers pay for it. I think all of us who've lived here for more than 20 years know that. And whatever measures we can max out that were already approved in the late 80s to facilitate helping defray that cost from taxpayers need to be implemented. The bottom line is, growth is paid for by the people that are here. And contrary to what other people might be saying, that's where the buck stops. And unless you want to increase property taxes and other forms of taxes on people, then those facility taxes need to be embraced. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bob Murphy.
Thank you. I'm Bob Murphy. My address is 214 Centerview Drive in Brentwood. I am president of RPM Transportation. I'm here on behalf of the Iroquois Steeplechase, which will be held again this year on Saturday, May 12th, at the Steeplechase at Percy Warner Park. This will be the 66th running of the Steeplechase. And I know, as many of you are aware, this is a really great event for Middle Tennessee. It's a major fundraiser for the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. Now, this event is held in Davidson County. However, it's just over the Williamson County line and is attended by many Williamson County residents. This event draws a lot of traffic to the area, and some of that traffic travels on Williamson County roads. Most importantly, Hillsborough Road, Sneed Road, Vaughn Road, and Highway 100. Now, this year more than ever, the Steeplechase organizers are trying to ensure that traffic and parking problems are minimized as much as possible. And we want to particularly make sure that's the case for Williamson County. And that's why I'm here tonight, to try to get the word out for traffic, to minimize the traffic and parking problems the day of the event. We have developed a comprehensive traffic and parking plan that will be used this year to minimize the problems associated with the steeplechase. We've also recently met with the Williamson County staff, and we're going to be working with them to deal with things that we're going to be doing to handle the traffic on the intersections and roadways on Williamson County. And what I wanted to do tonight also was to emphasize certain important aspects of that plan. And first of all, beginning at 10 o'clock in the morning on that Saturday, May 12th, Old Hickory Boulevard will be closed east of Vaughn Road in front of the steeplechase, just like it has been done in the past. So it's important for any traffic that would be on the road not going to the steeplechase to seek alternate routes. Secondly, all people who have general admission tickets to the event must park at lots on Highway 100. Now, this is a change from previous years in the past, except for last year. and those people will be shuttled to the event from Highway 100. And we want to make sure that people are aware of that so that they don't travel on Old Hickory Boulevard to get to Highway 100, but they go directly in on Highway 100. Next, parking lot sign, we will have signs out the week before the event at the intersections in the area, identifying which direction or which routes people should take, and particularly that Old Hickory Boulevard in front of the steeplechase will be closed. There will also be signs out the day of the event directing traffic to and from the event. And we will continue to be working with the Williamson County staff to get those signs properly located and to make sure that they're in place the way they should be the day of the event. Finally, another point of the parking lots on the south side of Old Hickory Boulevard and the east side of Vaughn Road, where the ball fields are and the model airplane field is. Those lots are only going to be you're only going to be able to access those lots this year from Vaughn Road. So we want to make sure that people that are traveling to those lots, that they come in either Vaughn Road from the north or Vaughn Road to the south. We will continue, as I mentioned, to coordinate with the Williamson County staff, and also we're going to continue to publicize the traffic and parking plans and routes as much as possible before the event so that everyone will know about this. Also, if you're looking for additional parking and traffic information as well as tickets for the event, you can go to the website of the Iroquois Steeplechase. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our citizens' communication. Moving on now to communications and messages. Let's first take care of some housekeeping items relative to some late filed resolutions that have been mailed to you, and I think one of them was handed out tonight. Late filed resolution number 13. This is resolution declaring certain property and equipment surplus property and authorizing the sale of said property. Any objection to adding to the agenda 30713? I see no objection, so we'll be adding that to the agenda. Under section 30714, we have late file resolution to override the City of Franklin Municipal Planning Commission's requirement related to site plan approval of the Agricultural Exposition Park addition. Any objection to hearing that late file resolution this evening? I see no objection, so we will add that to the agenda. Resolution 30715, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-07 Veteran Services budget by $4,625. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Any objections to hearing that resolution this evening? I see none. We'll add that to the appropriations agenda. Resolution 30716, resolution 30716, late filed resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-07 Highway Department budget by $672,705 for paving expenses, revenues to come from state and state aid program funds. Any objection to hearing 30716? See no objection. We'll add that right after number 15. And then late file resolution number 30717, a resolution appropriating and amending the Emergency Management Capital Projects budget by $350,119.95 for Homeland Security grant funds. Any objection to adding that to the agenda? I see no objections. And then the one that was handed you tonight, Commissioner, this is a late file resolution 30718 by Commissioners Hester and Hancock, a resolution to approve lowering the speed limit on Henpeck Lane. Objections on that resolution to be heard? See none, so we'll add all of those to our agenda as we move forward in our business this evening. Push your button, please. Commissioner Wilson?
I cannot find the last ones that you were speaking of. I found the 18, but the others,
They were all mailed out in the packet.
okay, I must have missed them. Sorry. I didn't know if we had extras. Probably not. That's okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Para?
Is it possible to hear 30711 before 30710?
Request to hear 30711 in front of 30710. Now, that's a request of the maker. Any objection to hearing 30711? Pulling it forward, so we'll hear 11 before 10 without objection. See no objection. Thank you, Commissioner Para.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, please.
Chairman, it seems like every meeting we have, we're having more and more of these late-filed resolutions, and I don't have any objection to these, but it seems to put a hardship on the staff, seems to put a hardship on commissioners, as well as puts a hardship on the public to not get these things in on time. We have a filing deadline. Fully a third of our resolutions tonight are late filed, and so I'd just like us all to work together to see if there's some way that we can get these things in, or if they're not emergencies, let's hold them off till next month.
Commissioner Ford, I certainly appreciate your comments. It would be my expectation and estimation that as we don't meet in April, a lot of these was decided that they needed to be taken care of at our March meeting rather than waiting until June. That would be my guess, but that's speculation on my part. But your point's well made, and every effort, I'm sure, is made to file these on time. So anything else under the communications and messages? Lynn Sutton is our Sergeant at Arms tonight, and certainly thank him for being here. We'll move on then to proclamation of appreciation to Mr. Jim Lamb by Mayor Rogers Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of fine, outstanding folks that make Williamson County what it is today, and this evening we have an opportunity to have a little appreciation to one of those individuals, Mr. Jim Lamb, and I'm going to ask Jim and his wife, Margaret, to come up as we honor him tonight for his nearly 25 years of serving on one of the more difficult committees in the Planning Commission, and we'd like to read this into the record. I probably caught Margaret off guard.
That's good.
If you'd allow me to read this. Whereas born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, James Jim Lamb has resided in Williamson County since 1973. He graduated from TTU with a degree in mechanical engineering, and whereas Jim Lamb has been a valued employee of Spandex Incorporated, traveling as far away as Antarctica in the service to his employer. And whereas in 1982, County Executive Robert Ring appointed Jim to serve on the Williamson County Regional Planning Commission, and he has been reappointed to 4-year terms by County Executive Clint Caldecott and myself. And during his tenure on the Williamson County Regional Planning Commission, the population of Williamson County has grown by an estimated 100,000 people. And whereas during the period of unprecedented growth, Jim has participated in countless Planning Commission meetings, comprehensive plan meetings, comprehensive plan update meeting in an effort to work with the citizens, local leaders, and elected officials to chart a planned and organized pattern of growth throughout the unincorporated areas of Williamson County. And whereas due to his increasing travel demands, Jim has tendered his resignation from the Williamson County Regional Planning Commission and the Williamson County Comprehensive Plan Update Steering Committee. It be resolved on behalf of the citizens of Williamson County who have and will continue to benefit from the fruits and the service that I, as the Mayor of Williamson County, do hereby express my sincere appreciation to Jim Lamb for his nearly 25 years of dedicated service to Williamson County. Congratulations.
Jim, you don't talk to us one last time? We'll give you one last word.
As unaccustomed as I am to speaking to this group, we have seen an exciting time as I have served with the Williamson County Planning Commission. The work we've done, I think, has been aided by the cooperation of this group. I've certainly appreciated that. I'm sure the continuing generations that live in Williamson County will benefit from the work of us all. I congratulate you and invite you to keep up the good work.
Thank you, Jim. Report of county offices, County Mayor Anderson.
I think that's the least I've ever heard Jim Lamb speak in my entire life. Mr. Chairman and County Commissioners, we'll let David address the financial conditions of the county.
Mr. Coleman.
Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, we've got your standard 3 reports this month. I'll go over fairly quickly. I know you've got a lot of business tonight, but the budget report for January of '07 is in. That gives you a 7-month look at the budget. Everything appears to be in order there. If there are any questions along that line, I'd be glad to address that. We have our report from the Cool Springs Conference Center. We had an excellent month in December, and I told you at that time that they were kind of warning us ahead of time that January would not be quite that good, and we did have a negative balance for January of $10,386, but I'm sure that things are already picking back up again, so hopefully we'll have a good report for February. The third report that we don't talk about a lot, but we have in the last couple of months, and that's the privilege tax collections. This is through February. Just got these figures today. That gives us 8 months to look at. We went back and compared that to last year. As I've mentioned to you, the last 2 months we've kind of been on a decline. So now in 3 months in a row we've shown declines from the previous year's collections in the privilege tax. And for the 8 months ended February the 28th of '07, we were actually down almost $1 million from the year before. That's about a 15% decline. So we'll continue to watch that very closely, and we've been hearing for, I guess, the last 2 years that there's been kind of a national decline in the home building and real estate market. We were not seeing that in this area for some time, but this may be an indication that it is hitting our area to some degree, but we will continue to watch that.
Any questions of Mr. Coleman on those 3 reports? I see none. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as a follow-up to Bob Murphy being here, we asked him to make the same presentation a lot more in detail, particularly out in the 8th and 9th District where the steeplechase will be occurring. So he has met with the appropriate people at the Sheriff Department in Dusty, and he's also met with Eddie Hood to educate and promote the steeplechase and the routes, and each one of those men will be getting with their people so to help direct that traffic and hope to not have some of the difficulties we had last year. And I want to say I know Bob's already left, but appreciate him coming down here. Mr. Chairman, that concludes everything that I have to say tonight. I'm sure there'll be others as the meeting goes down the road.
Any questions of the mayor to this point? Mayor, I know one of the things that was on my list to make sure we publicize, talk about the Grassland public meeting as it relates to the sewer, as to what's happening, the what, where, when, and emphasize the need to make sure that everybody's aware of that meeting. Would you please do that, sir?
Be glad to. Thank you for the opportunity. If you'll share the date with me, I don't want to.
It's March the 27th at the Recreation Center, Rec Center, at 6 p.m. And this will be the public meeting to, not a public hearing, but a public meeting to basically discuss the status of the Grassland Sewer.
The Grassland Sewer, for many of you, goes particularly the 8th and 9th County Commissioners, involves about 4 subdivisions. And over the course of the last couple of years, since you actually approved the funding, we have been trying to secure permanent easement as well as temporary easements out in that area to service the situation out there. The last public meeting that we had out there was last year, and we want to invite everyone to attend, particularly these county commissioners, and hear the update and also to answer the questions on the status of the Grassland Sewer project. We've also asked our consultant, SSR, Smith, Seckman, and Reed, in which to give us an update on the cost of the construction that they put together some 2 years ago to now, and see where we stand on the monies that we have and see what we need to do and how we're going to address that. We have been experiencing some difficulties. Our attorney out there has been Christy Earwood. Many of you know Christy, and has worked very diligently out there, as well as the 4 county commissioners in that area, about securing the easement right-of-way so that we can begin this project. To some degree, we've not been as successful as we would like to be, and we're hoping that with some additional updated material and a greater push and emphasis, we can get this off dead center and set some real serious time frames in which that we need to concentrate on.
Any questions? Look again, that's March the 27th at the Williamson County Rec Center, 6 p.m. Any questions of Mayor? Thank you, Mayor. Director of Schools, Dr. Rebecca Sharber, please.
Good evening. We are quickly closing in on the end of our third 9 weeks, which will end at the end of this week. And when the students go home on Friday, they'll have a week off because it is our spring break next week. Our offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday of next week in case you need to do business with us. Try to do it Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. That would be helpful. I did want to correct something that I said in the Budget Committee. Commissioner Williams, you asked me how many of the teachers that we had just been given authority to hire we had hired, and at that time I said 1, and the one I was thinking about was the one I was the most concerned about when I came to you, and that was a special ed situation at Westwood. But when I came to you, I had already hired someone, I think I mentioned this, and I was just going out on a limb at Lipscomb at the beginning of January for a special ed situation, so that was really 2. And last week, we actually went over class size at Scales Elementary in the 5th grade. So we ended up with 30, 31, and we had to split a class. So that was 3 out of those. And when I gave you this chart about the 14 positions that you approved earlier in the year, it really said 14.4 at the end, so I was already 0.4 over there too. So really, out of the 8 positions, we've hired 3.4. So I apologize for giving you misinformation at the Budget Committee. I just had my mind on one thing, and then after I left, I went, oh my goodness, and then the Scales thing happened last week. So I did not mean to give you misinformation. I wanted to make sure to say that publicly so everybody could hear that. We are doing well with our 2 new elementary buildings. They should easily be open when they need to be so we can get moved into them before the beginning of the school year. We're pleased about how that is going. We are still searching for property for the middle school in the south end of the county, and property is quickly becoming very difficult to achieve, but we are working with property owners and trying to find something there. Anybody wants to volunteer to help find property, I could use your help on that, but we'll do it. If we don't, we'll do it. But I mean, really, if y'all know anybody that has land for sale, we'd be glad to talk to them anywhere in the county, because I think we're going to continue to need schools in lots of places. We met with the property committee meeting about 2 weeks ago almost, and talked to them about our assessment of using the BGA property for a possible central office. And the bottom line is we decided that wouldn't work for us or for the property. So the property is back in the laps of the county commissioners for what you think you need to do best. And we do appreciate, one more time, your allowing us to consider that as a possible site for our central office. And that's my report for this evening, but I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions of Dr. Sharber? I see none.
Thank you very much.
Hospital report, Dennis Miller.
Good evening, Chairman, County Commissioners. Just got a few things I'd like to highlight for you. We had a good month in January. Our construction project is on schedule. We should have everything complete June 22nd. Then have the state and the city come in, inspect it, and have everything open. And we do want to get a women's center open. During the past few months, we've obtained a certified chest pain center designation. We're now doing cardiac rehab and physical therapy. We have determined that we're one of the leading hospitals as far as someone comes in with a heart attack, getting them to the cath lab and everything else. 1/3 of the hospitals do it within 90 minutes. We got ours down in November to 60 minutes. And a lot of it's to do with how the ambulance services can send in the EKGs and they can be ready for them as soon as they come in. And the last thing we had Red Day out at the hospital. And people were gracious enough to pay about $1,600 to see me in a wig and a red dress. I was the cutest of the three, by the way. But we raised close to $5,000. And the staff liked it. Of course, they're blackmailing me now, too. Is there any questions I may be able to answer for anyone?
Any questions of Mr. Miller? So you thought you were the cutest, huh?
I was. I got pictures to prove it.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Very good. Thank you. Any other committee wishing to report to the commission? You have laying at your place tonight the Department of Community Development annual report, and please reflect in the record that that was handed to the commission tonight. Anybody else wishing to make any reports, committees from the county commission? Excuse me, Commissioner Barnwell.
I just want to reemphasize that there's a Human Resources Committee meeting on Thursday night at 5:30, and it's in the multi-purpose conference room, not the regular conference room. We'll be going over the request for additional personnel and the budget for Human Resources.
5:30?
5:30.
5:30 in the multi-purpose room. The HR committee, under Commissioner Barnwell's leadership, will start reviewing the request for new personnel for the budget. So please come if you have interest. Anything else? Any other committee? I see none. Moving on to elections and appointments. Emergency Communications District Board of Directors. These are the terms that are expiring for 4-year terms expiring March 11. Districts 3 and 12. Term expiring is Tom Neal. Nomination Tom Neal. Motion is seconded, Commissioner Hayes and Lynch. The motion to approve Tom Neal. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Districts 8 and 9, Robert A. Ring. Nomination, Robert A. Ring. Motion is made and seconded. Who? Commissioner Davis. Who made the second? Cheryl. For Robert Ring, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Districts 10 and 11, Houston Aaron's terms expiring. Nomination Houston Aaron. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Barnwell, a motion. Commissioner Neal, Commissioner Lynch, the second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I will abstain. Let the record reflect. Motion is adopted. Williamson County Regional Planning Commission, 4-year terms expiring 3/11. Tom Murdick is term expiring. Nomination Tom Murdick. Motion is made and seconded. Commissioner, who made the motion? Commissioner Hayes. Commissioner Hancock, the second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Adoption. John Lackey is the term expiring. Nomination, John Lackey.
Second.
Commissioner Bain, Commissioner Cook, the second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Unanimous adoption. County Commission appointments, the Highway Commission. The Northeast District is expiring. This term was a 2-year term that will expire March of '09. Term expiring is Dick Folks. Nomination is Dick Folks. Motion is made and seconded to approve Dick Folks. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Northwest District, Stan Tyson. Nomination, Stan Tyson. Nomination, Commissioner Williams. Second, Commissioner Chalfant. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. Show it 22 yes and 1 no. Commissioner Brockman voted no. Zoning Appeals Board, 5-year term expiring 3/11. Term expiring is Steve Worley. Nomination, Steve Worley. I can't hear. I'm losing my hearing. Commissioner Hester. Commissioner Ford, the second.
I have a question. If this is a 5-year term, should that be 3/12 instead of 3/11?
Thank you.
I just don't want to come up.
Okay, so it's expiring 3/12 instead of 3/11. We would make that correction. Thank you, Commissioner Ford. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Unanimous adoption of Steve Worley to the Zoning Appeals Board. Notaries, you've received a list of the notaries that were sent out in the mail. I'll entertain a motion. Is there a second? Motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Wilson to approve the notaries as presented. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous approval of the notaries. Moving on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda is before you. There are 2 resolutions, 3073, 3074. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Commissioner Cook, the motion. Commissioner Mills, the second, to accept consent agenda. All in favor say aye. You got this on the board? Let's vote it by machine. Vote on the consent agenda, if you would, please. Everybody voted, wishes to vote. Commissioner Lynch? Thank you. 23 yes. The consent agenda is unanimously adopted. Moving on, there are no unfinished business items, no zoning. Appropriations, resolution number 3071. Resolution appropriating $176,900 for additional seating for home side bleachers at Fairview High School from unappropriated fund balance. Commissioner Mills, please.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Mills, a motion. Commissioner Jones, the second. Committee reports. Education Committee.
6 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
4 for.
0 again. Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Mills.
I know you have read this, and you see there is a safety issue here. We have spectators that are sitting on the hillside instead of in bleachers, and that is truly a safety issue. And also Fairview needs this so that other high schools can participate in some of the activities that they have out there, especially the TSSAA sports. And if you need some other explanation for this, we'll ask Dr. Sharma if she will talk with your permission.
Any other questions? Commissioner Jones, please.
I'd like each of you to support this. Next year, we're also going to be hosting a countywide band competition, and with the present seating, we just wouldn't have enough seats for everyone, and we'd really appreciate your support on this.
Thank you, sir. Other questions regarding this resolution? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 3071, press the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wished to vote. Record a vote, please.
23 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted, 23 yes. Resolution 3072, resolution transferring funds to a new major category for State Department of Education purposes for the Human Resources Department. Commissioner Mills, please.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Little, thank you. School Board report, 12 yes, 0 no. Education Committee,
650 against.
thank you. Budget Committee,
4 for, 0 against.
thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Mills.
If you look at the second whereas, you will see why this is being presented now, because the information that they got from the state was not available at that time, and the state has created a new major account code for the operation of Human Resource Department. So this is why they is asking for this, why they are asking for this. And again, if you need any other explanation, then Dr. Sharp is here.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions of Commissioner Mills on 3072? I see none. If you're in favor of 307-2, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted wish to vote. Record a vote, please.
23 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Madam Clerk, if you would go back on Resolution 307-1 and show that the school board report was 12 yes, 0 no. I failed to report that, please. Thank you. 3075, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 miscellaneous budget by $6,000. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Commissioner Wilson.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second by Commissioner Hayes. Budget Committee report.
The resolution died for lack of a second.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, thank you very much. As most of you know, I will remind you that St. Patty's Day is coming up this week on Saturday. And we have, as of now, 23 guests coming from the county of Laois, Ireland. The purpose behind, in November of '06, we agreed to partner with Sister Cities of Franklin, Inc. to basically come up with some goals and to enter into working in a partnership with Sister Cities, with actually the county of Laois, Ireland. The Sister Cities' goals are to promote goodwill, share culture, history, educational opportunities, economic development, and of course the big issue, I think, is tourism. We are, as a county, now a global county. We are no longer just Williamson County. We have Nissan that has global connection, Healthways, and a college locally, a Moore College of Design that has affiliations with 5 different countries in Europe. I wanted to tell you that the partnership that we were to enter into is through international cities, and through this we will be able to gain knowledge, send students, but also be able to collaborate. These are government leaders that are coming to visit us. They are very interested in, and I asked for this money to be appropriated for this use because I think that we can gain, this is an investment for our county. We have a lot of citizens that have moved here that actually have Irish heritage, one of which is my husband's family that back in the late 1700s moved here. I believe that it is something far bigger than just Sister Cities of Inc. This money will go into their general fund. The reception and the experience that they will be having this weekend, this money will not be used for that purpose. It will go into the general fund of the Sister Cities of Franklin, Inc.'s general fund. I wanted to mention, too, that tourism, we just had a wonderful presentation from the Tourism Task Force. And I feel like that from our tourism and from our economic development departments that we can gain so much from this country. They are in the Midlands of Ireland, and we are in Middle Tennessee. Where they have fences, where we have fences, they have rock walls. So I gained a lot of appreciation. Their agriculture is so very, very similar, and hope that you will approve this amount. I think it would be a very good investment for our county.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Mills?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to support this resolution. And talking about the Macklemore House that I'm always pushing for, we have these people from Ireland are supposed to visit the Macklemore House, but we've also had people from Canada, and we think this is an educational thing for our children. So I certainly support this.
Thank you. Other discussion on the resolutions before? Resolution 3075 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please.
13 yes, 1 abstention, 9 no.
13 yes, 1 abstention, and 9 no. Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 3076, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 recycling budget by $800. Revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Hayes.
Move approval.
Commissioner Mills is second. Municipal Solid Waste Board voted 4 for, 0 against. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Hayes.
Williamson Recycles is a member of the Keep Williamson, is Keep America Beautiful conglomerate, and as that, the Keep Williamson Beautiful received an award of excellence through that program of litter and solid waste education. We were the most comprehensive Tennessee Great American Cleanup, demonstrating the second most community involvement throughout the entire state. And with that award came a nice plaque, but also came $800. And that $800 is being requested to go back into the Keep Williamson Beautiful budget. So it is a donation, a gift, because of their excellent service to Williamson County.
Thank you. Questions of Commissioner Hayes? I see none. In favor of Resolution 3076, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody vote that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please.
23 yes.
23 yes. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 3077, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 Parks and Rec budget by $25,708 for part-time employee costs for the indoor soccer arena at Crockett Park. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Commissioner Cook.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Langston. Parks and Rec Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Thank you.
No, yeah,
4 for,
it wasn't on here, so.
0 against. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please.
As you may all know, we opened the indoor soccer building this past weekend, and I'm proud to say that it's already been people signing up for well over a year to use the facility, so it's going to be a great thing for us. But in the excitement of opening the building and getting ready for budget, the expenses for part-time help was left out. So this resolution is asking for $25,708 for part-time personnel.
Thank you. Other questions of Commissioner Cook? I see none. In favor of Resolution 3077, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please. 23 yes. Resolution Unanimously adopted. Resolution 3078, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-07 Archives budget by $50,000. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general fund balance. Commissioner Hayes, please.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Cook, the second. I think you were the loudest.
Second that.
Budget Committee report.
Budget Committee report, 4 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Hayes.
I hope by now all of you have had an opportunity to go see our wonderful museum and archives. And we keep soliciting and getting wonderful things. As you may notice in your resolution, we have been honored to receive the donation that Battleground Academy had of their many of their war relics and many artifacts that they have. Such things as the drum that was played in the War of 1812. Things all the way from the Pope flag, where there were 3 Pope P-O-L-K flags, and one is at Swanee, one we have, and one we don't know where it is. So we're very honored to have those items, and we want to certainly preserve them, take good care of them, and secure them. And with that, we need cases, and we need proper ways to display them. We have gotten quotes, and even with the quotes of the cases and the things necessary for that preservation, it came a little bit over this $50,000. But it left no money in there for any signage. And I know you will agree that the interpretation and what we tell people is part of the education. So I would like, Mr. Chairman, to amend this to add $5,000 to additionally pay for these items, and also of the shelving, the signs, and the display cases.
I'll second.
Commissioner Bain, second the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Lynch?
Mr. Chairman, I have a conflict of interest on this resolution, and I will abstain on both the amendment and the resolution.
Thank you, sir. So show the record that Commissioner Lynch is abstaining to vote on the amendment and the resolution. Further discussion on the amendment to add $5,000 for signage. All in favor? You have it loaded? Okay. So as we load this, the total will be $55,000, all from unappropriated county general funds, and would be increasing the capital outlay amount. So we're amending it to $55,000. If you're in favor of the amendment, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody vote who wish to vote. Record a vote, please.
22 yes,
22 yes. Commissioner Lynch is abstaining on the amendment. So the resolution as amended, 3078 as amended to $55,000. If you're in favor of the resolution as amended, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Record a vote, please.
22 yes, 1 abstention.
Thank you. 22 yes, 1 abstention, with Commissioner Lynch abstaining with conflict of interest, so the resolution is adopted for $55,000. Resolution number 30715, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-07 Veteran Services budget by $4,625. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Commissioner Green, please.
For approval.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Chalfant, the second. Parks and Recreation Committee, please. Commissioner Cook.
4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Green.
Yes, excuse me. At the Williamson County Veterans Park, they have continued to sell pavers down there in memorial of people who have served throughout from Williamson County. And the sales have continued since we dedicated it, and we're trying to appropriate those monies to offset the purchase and the installation costs from the general fund.
Thank you, sir. Questions of Commissioner Green on this resolution? See none. In favor of 30715. press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. 23 yes, 0 no. Motion, resolution unanimously adopted. 30716, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-07 Highway Department budget by $672,705 for paving expenses, revenues to come from state aid program funds. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Williams is second. Highway Commission was 5-4, 0 against. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Green.
Under the state aid program, when the Williamson County Highway Department maintains roads, and they have paved and resurfaced Clovercroft and South Hill Halls, and this is our opportunity to recover those costs through that state aid program.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Brockman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What qualifies a road to be a state aid road?
Mr. Coleman, do you know the answer to that question, please?
Sorry.
What qualifies a road to be a state aid road? Greg, you come on up in case my expert needs some help.
We're going to double team you since Mr.
That's right.
Hood
Come on up.
Mr. Hood is not here. But basically, my understanding, there are a list of roads that the state recognizes and need certain work done on them, and they put the funds there for each county. There are two options that we have, and one we've done in the past is where we bid those projects out, have a third party do the work, and then we pay them the money from the state. The second option is to do the work ourselves and then have those costs refunded to us. And that's what Mr. Hood's done the last few years.
And they are designated roads. There's a number of roads within the county. On the road list, it's designated SA state aid.
And the state makes that designation?
I'm not sure if it's I believe it's the state. I'm not sure on that, but they are on the road list. It's got SA after those roads that are state aid roads that are within the county.
Follow up, Commissioner Brockman.
Okay. So on that road list, it'll say it's a state aid road or it's not. Whether it needs to be repaired right now or not is not really...
It's just going to say whether it's state aid. It won't. The road list won't tell you if it's got to be repaired, but whether or not it's a state aid road if it qualifies.
Thank you. Any other questions on this resolution? Commissioner Green, please.
I would just, excuse me, just answer another question, if I could, to the chairman, please. Is this typically a state highway that we maintain? I mean, it's designated as a state highway? I mean, or can it be just a county highway? That
We don't maintain the state highways.
Okay.
No, that's done by TDOT.
Okay.
Yes.
Other questions? 30716. I see none. If you're in favor of 30716, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote, please. Record a vote. Thank you. 23 yes, 0 no. Resolution 30717, a resolution appropriating and amending the Emergency Management Capital Projects budget by $350,119.95 for Homeland Security grant funds. Commissioner Lynch.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Chalfant. Law Enforcement and Public Safety Committee.
6 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, sir. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Lynch.
This is money that's come from the federal government for Homeland Security through Mike Thompson's department.
Okay. Any questions of Commissioner Lynch on Homeland Security grant funds? Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted wishes to vote? Record a vote, please. 23 yes, 0 no. Anybody want to take a break? Raise your hand if you want to take a 10-minute recess.
Just do this one and take a break after that.
All right. Let's do Resolution 3079, resolution declaring certain property and equipment excuse me. I missed one? 18?
Wait a minute. Am I-
18 is under other.
18 isn't on our list. You got to stick it in this thing.
Oh.
Which one you want to do, Commissioner Green?
Well, I was looking at 9.
Resolution 3079, declaring certain property and equipment surplus property and authorizing the sale of property and equipment at auction. Commissioner Hayes, please.
Move approval.
Second, Commissioner Barnwell. Municipal Solid Waste Board, 4 yes, 0 no. Property Committee.
It was 4 in favor and 0 against.
Thank you, sir. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Okay. Property Committee, 7 for, 0 against. Mr. Hancock, correct? Budget Committee, 4 for, 0 against. Explanation, Commissioner Hayes.
This is giving the option for the solid waste department to put these trucks in their special heavy equipment auction if they so desire. We get a better price for the county when that's done, but I really want to tell you that when the landfill gets through with the truck and when Lewis finishes with it, there's not much left of the truck. He really does get the good use out of it. So, but we will put these at an auction where we think we get the best benefit.
It is slightly used.
It is slightly used. There's not much left when they...
Okay. Resolution 3079 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record a vote, please. 23 yes. We'll take about a 10-minute break and reconvene, and we'll be discussing Resolution 30711. So we're in recess for 10 minutes.
Jeff, you're behaving so well.
Now call the meeting back to order, back in session. As we indicated on our resolutions, the request to the chair was to hear 30711 before we hear 30710. So at this time, we'll introduce 30711, a resolution to implement and establish a tax rate is authorized by the Williamson County Adequate Schools Facility Tax Private Act Chapter Number 113 of 1987, as amended, and to authorize the Williamson County Mayor to enter into negotiations with cities for the use of the proceeds. Commissioner Para.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Davis. Tax Study Committee. Tax Study Committee. Thank you. 3 for, 2 against. Budget Committee.
3 for, 1 against, as amended. If I might add, the amendment sounded pretty good when we met, but we're not positive we need the amendment now, and thank God Mr. Anderson is going to explain this, I hope.
Okay. Well, if he can't, legal counsel can over here.
Good.
Commissioner Lynch. Okay, that's a report of the committees. Back to Mr. Para. Commissioner Para is one of the sponsors of the resolution. I'd like to give you the floor, sir.
Well, first thing, Education Committee did meet on it just before this meeting. The vote was 7-4-0 against.
Okay.
I know many of you, probably all of you, have already heard me present information on the subject, but I'm going to present it one more time, and I hope you'll have some patience with me on this. I gave you a small packet of some information that I'm just going to try to go through quickly. So the first 2 pages are from our comprehensive plan. It's the final phase where we talk about how to implement it. I just wanted to point out that under paying for growth, highlighted portion says a strong emphasis shall be placed on the concept of having new development pay its own way, in quotes. And some of the ways that were put down in terms of paying for that are state funds, privilege taxes, impact fees, and property taxes. And two of the major sources, I think, could be privilege taxes and impact fees. And tonight, obviously, we're speaking of privilege taxes or adequate facilities taxes. The next 2 sheets are the history of the Williamson County privilege tax. And one thing I would point out is that, and it's highlighted, is that in 2002-2003, for example, for schools, we were taking in about $3.8 million a year. And then after the increases that the County Commission put into effect, both of which are highlighted, it went up to $9.4 million. So the increases did not cause the growth to suddenly stop. In fact, I think it can be shown that it in fact increased and did not stop. And the amount of funds that we received, which helped pay for schools, did increase significantly. Consequently, the total that we've received over the life of the privilege taxes are over $80 million. The next chart outlines our debt as it currently stands. This was as of June 30th last year. Doesn't include the 2 new schools we budgeted and the other items such as the Spring Hill Rec Center. And I might point out that just in straight debt, we owe over $300 million. And this doesn't include any interest payments. And in total payments, it's over $450 million. And what that means is that on the next sheet, we're paying nearly 20% of our property tax just to go toward the debt that we've accrued. And the reason I'm bringing this forward is I really think we need to do as much as we can to make sure the growth pays for the cost of the new infrastructure instead of possibly raising property taxes or accruing more debt. And the last page I want to speak to with regard to the residential tax is I did a short analysis of how much it costs us to build a new school currently. And I used the two most recent elementary schools, Longview Elementary and Nolensville Elementary. And Longview Elementary, which was the less expensive of the 2, it was over $21,000 per student when you look at the capacity and how much it costs to build the school. A national number that's used is 0.67 students per household, though I believe this number would actually be higher if you look just strictly at Williamson County, but I use the national number, and it's 0.67 students per household. When you multiply that by, I use the less expensive of the two schools, you find out it's over $14,000 per household that of what it costs just to build new schools to keep up with the students that are coming. In the calendar year 2006, we received about $9 million in privilege taxes. That's calendar year, which is slightly different than our regular budget year. That was on about 3,060 permits across Williamson County, including the municipalities, which means that we collected around $2,900 per household for schools. That's in comparison to $14,000 it's costing us per household to build the schools. So as you can see, we're not collecting nearly the privilege tax that it's costing us to build the schools. And that's why I brought this forward, because I honestly believe that the growth is the reason that we're having to build this infrastructure, and I think we need to close that gap between how much is being charged in privilege taxes or adequate facilities taxes and how much it's actually costing us to build the schools. And obviously a large portion of this is the rapid acceleration of the cost of the schools in recent years. I'd appreciate your support. Just a couple other items, sorry about that. The next two are the school's 5-year plan, 5-year capital improvement plan, and the total number on that is $262 million that the school board is asking us to look at. Even if we make significant reductions in the cost, and I really honestly think we need to look closely at the cost of each and every item and work to reduce it, it's still, even if we reduce 25% of that cost, it would still be $200 million over the next 5 years. And the last thing is that if we can quit accruing the debt, this next chart shows what our debt could do if we actually if we just kept paying it and didn't accrue more debt, is that over time we would actually bring it down. And I really would like to work toward bringing that debt down. I appreciate your time, and I'd answer any comments you have. And I'd also like to thank Bobby for his hard work on working on this resolution. Thank you.
Let me recognize, and I see Commissioner Greer and Davis are listed. I'd like to allow each of the co-sponsors to comment. Commissioner Greer, if you would at this time, please.
Thank you, sir. I co-sponsored the resolution because I don't think new development is paying its share and that the burden is being placed on the current residents. There's another issue that Jason didn't mention. He did a great job of explaining why we need this. But another one is because of the potential freeze on property taxes that the state legislature is considering. If that happens, then our ability to raise revenue will be further limited. So we need this resolution, and we need it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis is next, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Jason for his work in bringing this forward as well. And I just want to echo a couple of the quick points, and one or two that hadn't been made yet. Construction costs are increasing. It's now, in my 5 years here, almost double to build an elementary school than what it cost just 5 years ago. And the other construction costs are pretty bad. But one thing that hasn't been mentioned is the cost of maintenance and renovation of the buildings. The more of these we build, the more we're going to have to renovate somewhere down the road. And we have a history of using bonds as well to renovate or add a roof or a new HVAC system. And I also want to emphasize that this is a one-time charge. It's not as onerous. Any tax is onerous, but it's not as bad as property tax, which, as Commissioner Greer indicated, would fall on everyone, not just the new people that come into the county. I don't think this will stop construction. I think there's some other forces at work right now that are keeping current taxes down. That's only down, it's minimally compared to 3 or 4 years ago. That's not much money down. The economy will rebound as it always does, and why not? Why not collect this? Because we're going to need this because we have a mandate from the state. We don't have a choice about building new classrooms. We can do learning cottages if we want. Some people call them trailers. We can do that, but that still costs a lot of money, and the people in Williamson County really don't want that. So I'd support this as a less onerous way to get the money to build the schools and renovate the schools that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hester, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My constituents in District 2 emphatically have stated they do not wish to have their property taxes raised in the light of all of the new schools that are necessary. They are not opposed to growth. However, we feel that responsible growth should, in fact, pay for itself, pay its own way is a common term that I do hear. Growth, residential growth will pay for itself over the long term, but it's the very long term. In the short term, it does not. I've lived here 30 years, and I was doing some calculations today. There have been 18 new elementary schools. There have been 5 new middle schools and 7 new high schools. That's approximately 30 new schools in 30 years. But in the next 5 years, we anticipate 10 new schools. I support this legislation, and my thanks to Jason.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Brockman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also support this resolution for all the reasons that have been stated, and I would like to say that this is one of the taxes that we've looked at periodically through the years. The tax study has looked at it. We've looked at the language. We thought we needed to clarify it, but obviously this is something that, as a responsible county, we need to do. We have the growth. It's exponential in terms of the amount, and so using this adequate school facilities tax right now with the 70-30 split as it is really the right thing to do. And I am very hopeful that the cities will see fit to put that fund, their portion in that fund through an interlocal agreement. And I think that's, maybe I'm an optimist, but I say this is something that we need to do for the whole community, and it's not going to stop the building.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Hancock.
Call the question.
Question's been called for. All in favor of call the question, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Question has been called for. At this point in time, we do have some issues, and I would like to vote this, but I don't feel comfortable doing this until the mayor has an opportunity and legal counsel to address some issues that Commissioner Lynch mentioned early on. Mayor, do you want to go first, or do you want the council to go?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess my point I would like Jeff to give, if it's okay, John, on your motion to call the question, is to give the entire body an overview. Let council do that of what is occurring, and also at the same time to address the County Powers Relief Act. And as he's kind of getting his thoughts together, which we had asked him to do, to look at one of the reasons that the discussion came up in the Budget Committee last Monday night was because the area that you're about to go into is an area that does have some questions, and it would be my belief as the county mayor that we don't wind up looking down the road of an issue that possibly we can't fulfill the full intent of what you're wanting to do here tonight, or what this county facilities tax is outlined to do. So if Jeff would take a little time, and then I'll address any remarks that you may have.
Yeah, the mayor has asked me to look at and hopefully clarify a couple of questions that have come up. There was some discussion about seeking an Attorney General's opinion as to the validity or the authority of the county to implement the school facilities tax, which was passed in 1988 and has not been utilized up to this time. The real reason for this is last year the County Powers Relief Act was passed, which addressed privilege taxes in most counties. Part of that act said that if you already have a private act in place, you can use the authority granted prior to that up to whatever you had. Subsequent to that, Rutherford County attempted to amend their private act. There was an AG opinion that came down and declared their actions unconstitutional and therefore created some concern as to whether or not what we were doing was in conflict, not unconstitutional, but in conflict with the General Act. We don't believe it is because we're not doing what Rutherford County tried to do, which was amend their private act. We're trying to exercise an authority that was already established by private act, and so we think that's fairly clear. But given the potential for litigation over the legislation and the enactment or utilization of this authority, the county mayor has told me that if it passes, he intends to seek an attorney general's opinion, which we will draft and get to the state representative this week, seeking clarification just to make sure we have the authority. The real idea being, let's get the answer on the front end before we implement it and potentially go through months or years of litigation. We'll try to get some definitive answer before it would go into effect July 1 so that you would have some confidence into what numbers would be going into the budget as a revenue source.
Mayor.
Thank you, Council Jeff. And Clyde, one of the reasons that we withdrew it as an amendment allow us to navigate those streams up on the hill through the appropriate channels that we can do. We fully believe that we can get this opinion back. The date that Jason and all of the folks that have signed on to this is to be implemented on July 1. So that should give us sufficient time to come back with an AG's opinion. I must tell you that our own legal counsel feels very comfortable with it. And I also must tell you that the Attorney General, this is a new area. We'll be testing some waters that have not been crossed before. But I think it's very important for us that we don't begin to collect money and cause some issues that down the road that would even be a bigger headache for us, could possibly, potentially be a headache for us. So that's one of the reasons that I've come up here tonight and asked Jeff to give an overview and asked Houston for an opportunity to which to speak at it, because quite frankly, it is a very interesting journey that we're about to go on here. But I do thank Jason.
Thank you very much, and we'll still honor the call of the question unless somebody screaming and hollering. But I want to get that information before we do to make a vote. So, the question has been called for. 30711 is up for consideration. If you're in favor of 30711, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record a vote, please.
20 yes, 3 no.
20 yes, 3 no. The resolution is adopted. Okay. Resolution number 30710, resolution requesting an increase in the rate of the Williamson County Adequate Facilities Tax Private Act number 118 of 1987 as amended. Commissioner Para.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Greer, the second. Report from the Tax Study Committee. Jack's not here. That's looks like 1 for, 4 against. Budget Committee, Commissioner Lynch.
The resolution failed, 1 for, 2 against, and 1 abstain.
Okay. Explanation, Commissioner Para.
Once again, the Education Committee did meet on this just before this meeting. The vote was 5 for, 2 against.
Okay.
I'd refer you to the last 2 pages of the document I passed out. People have asked how much this will collect in adequate facilities taxes. While I'm not there, I couldn't find a very clear-cut way to find that exact number. What I did is I went back and I looked at the number of non-residential permits issued last year and the value of those permits. I got this information from the Williamson County Chamber of Commerce. The total value of those buildings was almost $131 million on 76 permits. If you assume the $100 per square foot, and obviously you can assume many different numbers, but that was a number I thought was fair, that would equal about 1.3 million square feet. If we adopted this at $1 per square foot, it would bring in, therefore, about $1.3 million. I think that's a fair number. It could be, plus or minus 20% of that, and obviously depends on what the future construction is. As a side note, currently we collect 34 cents per square foot, but we only collect it in the unincorporated county. And in 2006, calendar year 2006, there were only 5 permits in the unincorporated county. The next page is, I tried to make some type of comparison of privilege tax or adequate facilities tax to property tax, because I think there's a lot of concern that this is going to be hard on small businesses. And I think while it is something they would have to pay, and obviously it only applies to new building, not small businesses that are already here, unless they relocate, of course, I think it's much less onerous than the property tax. The property tax on non-residential is 40%, not the 25% that we all pay on our homes. And if you look at the cost of each building, at $131 million, 76 permits, it comes out to an average of $1.7 million per non-residential permit. At $100 a square foot, again, comes out to about 17,000 square feet. And, of course, at $1 a square foot, if that's what you choose to adopt, it would be about $17,000 on an average non-commercial building. If that money had to be borrowed, all of it had to be borrowed at 6% interest for 30 years, the business would end up paying about $1,240 a year in payments over that. When you compare that to property tax, that same value business, 1 cent of property tax would equal about $69 a year. So that $1,240 would be about equal to an 18-cent increase in property tax. But of course, it only is applying to those new businesses. And what I would like to compare that to is in 2002, the property tax was raised 22 cents. So the amount of property tax was raised on all businesses in Williamson County was higher than even the new businesses, just the new businesses would pay in this privilege tax on average. And I really think that while there isn't a direct correlation between the non-residential permits and the growth that we need in the schools, there's definitely an indirect link. And I think this is a fair amount to raise. I don't think it's that overburdened on new businesses, especially if you look at the cost of new construction. The cost of land and building materials is many, many times more than $1 a square foot that it's gone up in recent years. And I think this is a fair tax, and I hope you'll consider approving it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Little?
Thank you, Mr.
Russell Little, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Businesses do not pay tax. Businesses either fail or they make a profit, and by adding a burden onto businesses, what you're doing is you're passing it on to the taxpayer. So you're not taxing businesses, you're taxing the rest of the people of Williamson County in this instance. Businesses do not pay taxes. This resolution right here is an easy attempt. It's easy money. Here, let's go after businesses. Businesses are heavily taxed already. They pay a number of different taxes and fees throughout this county. We do not need to add another burden. Mr. Para brought up the burden on small businesses. Small businesses will probably be the hardest hit segment in this, and especially small businesses that are already located here and they wish to expand. If they wish to expand, they're going to have to pay this tax, whether they're here, whether they're already here. If they wish to expand, they're going to have to pay this tax. An increase in business, an increase in population raises all ships in this county. People that are already here, they're going to benefit from that. If they don't expand, they just have that increase in income. But if they want to expand their facilities, they've got to pay a tax on this, whether they exist here or not. New entrepreneurs that want to enter this county, we're adding a roadblock for them to enter this county. So this is a wrong attempt. It's the right idea, but it's the wrong attempt going after a wrong entity in our county. Please vote against this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Little. Commissioner Smith, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also would like to speak against this, and I'm no stranger or enemy of facilities taxes or impact fees. As chair of the Budget and Finance Committee in the city, I presided over a significant increase in impact fees on commercial businesses. fees that I believed were directly related to their impact on the infrastructure in the city. In this case, I believe, under the direction and with the support of this body, Williamson County has an excellent school system which attracts residents. The rooftops those residents live under attract commercial businesses. No, this fee will not stop the growth of commercial businesses in Williamson County. They move to the cities because that's where the infrastructure that they need to operate is provided to them. But it is another brick in the load, as Commissioner Little has said. And I think there is no direct correlation here. These commercial businesses do pay hefty taxes once they locate here in terms of property taxes. Many of them generate sales taxes, which directly benefit the school system. And if we want to get in real financial trouble, let's do everything we can to dissuade commercial businesses from locating and growing here in Williamson County. That will get us into a real deep hole in a hurry. I urge you also to vote against this.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Greer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Until now, the county has not imposed a countywide facilities tax on non-residential development, and I assume that was in order to entice businesses to come here. But with the rapid growth we've experienced since the late 80s, I don't think we need to do that anymore. And I think businesses do need to pay more in facilities tax. And I know some of you think that that's an unfair burden, but it is a one-time tax, and it can serve to reduce the property tax that you pay every year. So I think it is a useful tax. I think it is a fair tax. So I would appreciate your support.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Tommy Little.
I also am not in favor of the $1 per square foot, but also see the need that we have with the amount of schools and facilities we are going to have to build. So I'd like to offer an amendment that instead of going to $1 per square foot on commercial, that we take the 34 cents that we take now inside the unincorporated areas and make that over the whole incorporated areas, total county, 34 cents.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bain seconds the motion to amend. Commissioner Tommy Little's amendment is to spread throughout the county, total county, cities included, the 34 cents that currently exists in the unincorporated area. That's your amendment.
Yes.
So let's discuss, if we could, that amendment. Let's see, Commissioner Greer's already spoken. Commissioner Brockman, would you like to address that amendment? You've already punched the button here. If you want to address that amendment? If you don't, we'll come back to you.
Come back.
Okay. And let's see, Commissioner Williams, you're next.
Well, I like the amendment. I echo what Mr. Russell Little and Mr. Steve Smith said on the original motions. I think that business, we have to be careful and not tax businesses out because they pay more than their fair share. Small businesses does carry the back to America, so I think we need to keep that in line. But I would consider Commissioner Tommy Little's amendment, yes.
Okay. Commissioner Russell Little on the amendment, please, sir.
To answer the concern about this commercial development being paid within the cities and not within the county, the reason that exists is that when commercial comes in, they impact the cities. They impact the roads mainly within the cities, sewer, fire protection. This is all. That's why businesses go mainly within corporate city limits, and that's why the cities have a much greater legal reason to provide to impose the tax they do. The county doesn't have that same standing. The impact on the county is school children, and those come from residential.
Okay. Let's see, Commissioner Smith, please.
I would also echo what Commissioner Little said. In the city, what we tried to follow was the principle that the impact that you create on the infrastructure is what you have to pay for. If a commercial business is locating in the city, what is the county providing? They're not providing the law enforcement, the fire, the water, sewer, those facilities. We don't have a direct connection of services we're providing to those commercial businesses within the cities. In matter of principle and philosophy, there's not a direct connection there, and I'm not in favor of this amendment.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Brockman, back to you.
I was not sure about the amendment, but in order to get this adequate facilities tax approved, I would support the amendment. I really would prefer us to go with the $1. I think it's logical. It's the reason we've had this as part of our private act for so long. We've just never initiated it, and I think the time has come for us to really look at that indirect relationship, because the residential and the commercial are related, and they look to us for the spine schools that we have, and we all benefit by educating our community. So in order to support this, I would ask everybody to make this compromise.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Ford, please.
Mr. Chairman, we're on the amendment.
We're on the amendment to spread the 34 cents countywide.
And what the amendment really does is change the rate from $1 to 34 cents. Is that correct? So what we're really talking about here is not the philosophy of impact fees on the particular amendment, but we're talking about the rate at which that should be assessed. Am I understanding correctly?
My understanding of the motion is that Commissioner Little moved to reduce the dollar rate to 34 cents countywide.
So we're talking about the rate rather than the philosophy at this point.
That's correct. His amendment...
And then we'll come back to, we can talk again on the philosophy.
That's
of
correct.
impact
We'll
fees
come
and
back
so
to the amendment. If this amendment passes, we'll come back to the amendment as amended, the motion is amended, or if it doesn't pass, we'll come back to the primary motion.
So 34 cents, if we pass this, and assuming that the $100 per square foot is a reasonable figure, that's 1/3 of 1% of the cost of a building. I'd like to ask Mr. Parra if that math seems to come out correct. So it's 1/3 of 1% initially one time is what that would be, right? Whereas the dollar, before the amendment, the dollar would be only 1% of the building and be a one-time fee. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Jones, please.
I'd like to call the question.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Little, second on the call to the question. All in favor of the call to the question on the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The call to the question has been approved on the amendment to amend 30710, the rate to be 34 cents on a countywide basis. It's currently 34 cents in the unincorporated area of the county, and this would spread the 34 cents to all the municipalities. That's your motion. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Under a call to question, does the maker of the original amendment get an opportunity to speak if they wish? I believe that they have the opportunity to speak under the call for the question. Is that correct? Excuse me? No, the maker of the original motion.
They have not spoken?
Yes.
I believe that's true.
Okay, so I'd like to give Mr. Parra the opportunity to speak on that if
On the amendment?
yes,
No, I'll allow
if
that.
that's appropriate.
I'll allow that.
Thank you.
I understand the concern. I thought $1 was a fair amount. If you feel that 34 cents is the correct amount, it's more fair, I would accept that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's see here, moving around, we've had a call to question, and it's been adopted, so all in favor of 30710 as amended to 34 cents, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please. So 15 yes and 8 no. So the amendment to 34 cents passes, 15 yes, 8 no. So we're back to this resolution 30710 as amended to read 34 cents. And I guess just so that we understand clearly in the resolution what we're talking about doing, let's point out, council, if you would, the areas of this resolution that we are amending. Please, council.
I believe your amendment would affect the first, now therefore be it resolved, where it would say to the rate of 34 cents for non-residential development county-wide, including within municipalities effective July 1. Now, with a quick read, I don't see any other.
Commissioner Parr, as you're the maker, you have any problem with that?
No, I understand.
Okay, all right. So we're voting on 30710 as amended. Commissioner Hancock, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to make everyone aware that there was a time in this county when all of our sales tax dollars went to Nashville. And I made this statement at the committee meeting the other night, and I'll make it again for the entire body. Nashville had very intelligently built a retail wall around Davidson County. We were getting the rooftops, and they were getting the sales tax. We, in my opinion, don't need to do anything that would even remotely go back in that direction. The rooftops are here. Now we need to encourage a place for them to spend their money. This is shooting ourselves in the foot. We tax that property at 40%. Residential's taxed at 25%. I just, with all, everything that I've ever seen on this body says that we're doing the wrong thing if we adopt this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one quick comment about the link between commercial properties and schools. I realize it's less direct than the residential side is, but every time you talk to a business owner moving here, the first reason they say they move here is for schools, regardless of whether they locate in the city or any city in our county or anywhere else. They come here for the schools. And do they bring people with them? Of course they bring people with them. They bring employees. Look at our most recent example that we gave a tax break to bring additional employees here. That is an impact on our school system, and that seems pretty direct to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Green.
Yes, not to echo, Mr. Chairman, to echo what Mr. Hancock said. If you look at Nolensville Road right now, between Old Hickory Boulevard and the county line, there's now a Super Kroger's, a Walgreens, another supermarket, a super Walmart just south of Old Hickory Boulevard. Those are all out of the county. They are going to draw the sales tax dollars out of that section of the county, and they're all going to Metro. And because of instances just like that, I'm against this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Commissioner Green. Commissioner Parra.
I understand Commissioner Green's concern, but it's exactly that fact that we didn't have the privilege tax, and yet they still went to Davidson County. On the other hand, Super Walmart is going to build one in Thompson Station where they could have went to Murray County. Businesses choose to build wherever it's most profitable and they think they're going to get the most customers. Obviously, if we put a huge tax on them, that could have a different effect. But this is it's a minimal tax. It's an amount that there's no way, I honestly do not believe, that is going to cause somebody to go across the border. The price of land may cause them to go across there, but not this minimal tax. This is very small in comparison to the difference in the cost of land from one county to the other. Thank you.
Commissioner Forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to echo Commissioner Parra a bit, I think we have to stop and take a look at what is the full impact of this resolution, and it's 34 cents or 1/3 of 1% of the cost of construction. So using his figures, this is now going to be about $400,000 a year, spread across 76 permits. To think that people are going to move to another county to not build here for that small amount of money, I think is not something that's going to happen. We pass this resolution, we can then study the impact. We can understand then further down the road what that impact is, and if it is chasing business away, I don't think there's anybody on this commission that would not roll this amount back to be able to encourage that growth. There's also two types of businesses that we're targeting here, two types of businesses that will be affected by this. One is the retail, and we talked a lot about retail as far as following residential coming in. The other, though, that's commercial is those business parks, and those generally lead the residential here. The people that they build the business parks, the companies move in, and then the employees move in with those companies. So there is a leading edge of a certain type of commercial that will be affected by this. So the retail we've talked a lot about, the sales tax dollars, which are this year I think $50 million-ish in that range, is about what we're going to get from the sales tax. The $400,000 that will be brought in by this is minimal, one time. It's also primarily not going to be impacting small businesses. It is going to be impacting the development community. And so to think that the small businesses are the ones that are going to be taxed, it gets rolled down, but it also gets rolled down through those other non-retail businesses, rolled out to businesses all across the community, not necessarily just to the people who are here. So I'm in support of this.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hancock?
Yes, I'd like to respond to some of the things I said. If you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, the majority of your new development, with the exception of Franklin, is on your county lines. Franklin has Cool Springs. They're going to get their commercial, those people that live in Franklin. Those people that live in Nolensville, those people that live in Spring Hill and Thompson Station, they're right on the county line. The next big growth area is Fairview. That development down there is right on the county line. This is not good. Thank you.
Commissioner Langston?
Mr. Chairman, I, like Commissioner Smith, have been involved in the facility tax and impact fees. City of Franklin several years ago got into it, and I had no problem directly relating the commercial impact that it had on the City of Franklin. I, like some others, have a difficulty in relating the impact of commercial on the county, and I can't support this.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Smith?
Just in response to Commissioner Ford's comment about we'll study and the impact of this and what's going to happen if we see it chasing off business, you'll never know. It'll be gone and you'll never know it. So I don't agree with that at all. Continue to oppose this.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Russell Little?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Philosophically, is it a right tax or is it a wrong tax? I was in the grocery business for 26 years and saw state governments, federal governments raise the price of cigarettes to just incredible limits. I hate smoking, but some segment figured out that we can tax this particular industry because it's easy to do. People hate smokers, people hate the smoking industry. Same thing we're seeing now go for big oil. This is, philosophically, this is the exact same thing we're doing right here. We're taxing people who help us prosper, who are already taxed at a high rate. We're saying, hey, look, they're not looking, let's just hit them for a little bit more. Philosophically, this is the wrong thing to do. Just because it's 34 cents is not the right reason to pass this.
Other discussion on the motion as amended? Okay. Talked out. Okay, 30710, as amended, which has been amended to read to the rate of 34 cents for non-residential development countywide, including within municipalities, effective July 1, 2007. In favor of this resolution, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please. Commissioner Williams? 12 yes and 11 no, so the resolution fails for lack of a majority. Okay. (12, 0, 11). Okay, the next item on the agenda is resolution number 30712, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a lease agreement with the Boys and Girls Club for vacant property located at the corner of Granbury and Academy Streets. Commissioner Mills, please.
Approval. Second.
Commissioner Lynch, the second. Excuse me, Commissioner Hancock, the second. Hearing voices. The Budget Committee report.
Budget Committee is 4 for, 0 against.
Property Committee.
Property Committee is 7 for, 0 against.
Thank you, sir. Explanation, Commissioners Mills.
Mr. Chairman, I know that all of us know that the state of Tennessee has decided that it's going to terminate the lease with the Boys and Girls Club. And we also know that the county mayor of the county has a right to partnership with any person or corporation or any association. And also we know that the Boys and Girls Club has offered a lot here to Williamson County and to Franklin. And so they desire to lease a vacant lot owned by Williamson County. They also want to use some of the property in BGA. So I hope that we will, and know we will do this because we look so favorably on helping children and young folk, you know. But I hope that you will look favorably on passing this. And Mr. Chairman, I would like, if you don't mind, asking the members of the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Club to stand along with the director. I'd like to recognize them through you.
Please, would the director stand, and all board members of the Boys and Girls Club please stand to be recognized. Commissioner Mills, would you introduce them each, please?
All right. Want to ask me to introduce? All right, that's Mr. Brown standing over there. Hold your hand, Mr. Brown. All right, here's the director, Miss Denise, right there. We have the chairman of the board. Raise your hand. All right, we have some board members. Raise your hand, board members. All right, and then we have an instructor there. Mr. Tucker, Rem Tucker is over there. So, and they've already, if you don't mind, they have chosen a speaker for this. If you would allow them to do, Mr. Brown is the designated speaker.
Let me also recognize Commissioner Hancock as a member of that board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Having served with that. So, who's the designated speaker? Okay, if you'd come on up. This has gone through all the committees and not gotten any negative votes, so be careful.
Well, that's probably, I should. My mother always said to keep my mouth shut. My name is Brown Daniel, 1910 Sudbury Road. We didn't want to address the resolution in front of you. We did want to thank you for 18 years of support. We could not fulfill our mission without the help of the county mayor and the county commission, and we certainly appreciate your help these past 18 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions, Commissioner Langston?
I'd just like to thank this board and the directors, the people that work with the Boys and Girls Club, And I would ask the city of Franklin, I hope they also will become involved in this. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to show the appreciation for the work it's done in the community that it supports.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Smith?
Just want to echo what Commissioner Langston said. This will be a great move for the Boys and Girls Club. They're going to need to raise a lot of money. And both private funding and along with Commissioner Langston, I hope the City of Franklin will recognize the impact that this club has had on that community in particular, and that they'll step forward and be a big participant in this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hayes?
I echo the support and hope it will be a county-wide public-private partnership. I also would like to go on record as requesting that when they do build, that they will be design sensitive to their area.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Hancock?
Mr. Chairman, I am on the board, so I do have a conflict of interest, but I'm going to vote for it anyhow because it's the right thing to do. It's really the right thing to do, and I'm voting my conscience. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's an appropriate statement, Mr. Hancock. Commissioner Chalfant?
Call the question.
Question been called for. All in favor of call the question, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Question been called for. 307-12, lease agreement. The Boys and Girls Club. If you're in favor, press the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody record the vote, please. 23 yes. Motion unanimous. It's hard to get more votes than that, so you did well. Motion is adopted. Late file resolution number 30713. Resolution declaring certain property and equipment surplus property and authorizing a sale of said property. Commissioner Hancock, please.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Green. Property Committee report.
7 in favor of, 0 against.
Thank you, sir. Budget Committee.
4 in favor, 0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Hancock.
This is, there was 2 of these late filing. This just gives authorization to sell. And I believe this property came from is it the old courthouse?
Yes, sir.
The old courthouse, and they need to get rid of it, so they're going to sell it.
Commissioner Brockman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since it is the historic courthouse, is there some reason why the antique 5-foot safe on wheels can't remain there as part of the historic work that's going to be going on this year?
Mr. Ritter, the question is, and I think he and I have already talked about that, but I think the antique part, come on up, Mr. Ritter. The question is this antique safe, if you would explain to the commission actually what that was.
I do not know the exact year. It was an antique safe, but it was not very much of a safe. The rods in it were less than 1/4 of an inch thick. The walls were about 3/4 of an inch. It was not fireproof. We brought it over here for one department that wanted to continue to use it, and when they looked at it, they decided that it was pure surplus. If we find any departments that want to use it, we'll retain it.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
So its antique value is sort of in doubt, is that? Because I've seen some of these really thick antique safes on wheels, and they're amazing. They're really...
This was closer to a enclosed shelving with a combination on it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Other discussion? I see none. All in favor? 307-13, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted, wishes to vote? Record the vote, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. 23 yes, 0 no. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 307-14. Resolution to override the City of Franklin Municipal Planning Commission's requirements related to site plan improvement of the Agricultural Exposition Park addition. Commissioner Hancock.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Lynch, the second. This went before, let's see.
Property and Budget.
Property Committee.
7 in favor of, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Hancock. Budget Committee.
4 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Hancock.
Mr. Chairman, I'm on a yield, if I may, to Mr. Ritter. Again, he's very familiar with what we're doing, what they're trying to do here.
Thank you,
and
sir.
basically, they're trying to build a shed, I think, that will
Okay.
house some equipment. But
Thank you.
Al can better.
Mr. Ritter, would you tell us basically what this is?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There were two issues on the expansion we're trying to do at the Ag Expo Park. One of them is to cover the outside arena. The covering of a self-standing arena does not comply with the city requirements. They require that it be attached to a main structure or one of the other buildings. It would be kind of impractical to attach this covered arena. It would block one of our driveways. The other issue is that we're trying to do an expansion on the northern side of the building by enclosing the north vomitory area with a roof. And in that roof-covered area, there would be a small maintenance shop built. We will do want to do the exterior of the maintenance shop in split-face block and metal panels, which is very similar to the standard structure that the building is built out of. The metal panels are not allowed under the city's code, so we would like to request that those two items be approved by this commission.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other questions of Commissioner Hancock or Mr. Ritter on 307-14? I see none. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please. Resolution unanimously adopted, 23 yes, 0 no. Late filed resolution from Commissioners Hester and Hancock, a resolution to approve lowering the speed limit on Higdon Peck Lane. Commissioners Hancock and Hester.
I yield to Commissioner Hester.
Would you move it, please?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hester and Hancock the second. Highway Commission approved this 5-4, 0 against. Commissioner Hester, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for this being late filed. However, we were working with the Highway Commission, and we were waiting on a traffic study from Collier Incorporated, and they gave indication that this speed limit was within the rights to be lowered from 50 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour. I'd also like to say that this request came from parents and faculty of Oakview Elementary School located there on Hempeck Lane. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Hancock.
Yes, I concur and associate myself with those remarks. This is something that's been needed for a while, and we just had to move forward and get it done. And it's more like going through a subdivision than it is going through what Hempeck Lane used to be, because there's one house right after the other. Plus, there's 3 or 4 subdivisions feeding out into it now that are fixing to come online. Appreciated if you'd support it. Betsy and I both want it.
Thank you, sir. Other questions on Resolution 307-18? I see none. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record the vote, please. 23 yes, 0 no. Any announcements before we leave? Remember that we don't meet during the month of April, so we'll reconvene in May. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Smith, the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
What's that?
We're in adjournment. Have a good evening.